Hello everybody, Pixel Passport here and welcome to today's video of my Dark Souls journey. I had a great time. If you saw everything, thank you for watching all of my videos, and it was such an amazing time. I really enjoyed to play this game again. Dark Souls 1 was actually the first game that I actually played. I remember I was really young. I don't really know how old I was, but if you will look at the release date, this game actually came out September 22, 2011. So it's actually been 14 years that this game came out, and now I'm 29, so I was actually 15 for sure, or maybe like a little bit older. Um, I remember this game actually really took a big toll on me. It was not an easy game. I had a lot of problems because this game was so difficult. It was like one of the first games I actually played that was actually this difficult. So it took me like a very long time to complete, especially with like one of the big bosses like Gulag was like one boss I had so many difficulties to try to kill and win from. It was such a crazy battle. I don't even imagine how I felt that time. I was so mad I actually stopped to play this game. But you know, I got hooked on Dark Souls, so I got really hooked. Also, you all may know, also Dark Souls brought a remaster. This series was actually it's just exactly the same, but just better for PlayStation 5, and this one actually came out 23 May 2018. This one looks also really good. Of course, I played this one, of course. Also, the good part with it is actually the DLC is also included, if I'm correct. The DLC was also really cool with like Artorias and everything. Calamite. It was not an easy DLC, but still a very good one. I really enjoyed every single bit of it. And of course, but before Dark Souls Remastered 1 came out, there was actually another Dark Souls that came out. Of course, as you all may know, Dark Souls 2 came actually out. This game was also really cool because if I'm correct, it's also the first one that actually started to actually used mana. And this game came actually out in 2013, 11 March, which is 3 years later than Dark Souls 1. This game, man, I played it also for so long. I also liked every battle of it. Especially the armor of Faram, that's the one you can see on the screen. Of course, you can see it properly, but for those that actually play Dark Souls 2, you will know what I mean. This game was also, I was just hooked also on it. When that came out, I played it for so long. I had an amazing time. It's such a beautiful game also. So cool. But of course, after Dark Souls 2, there actually also another game that came out. And that will be actually Dark Souls 3. As you all may know, that game actually came out 3 years later also. I'm correct, this game actually came out. You will see it on the screen 24 March 2016. So this is really cool. I mean, I was really happy about this game too, because this game looked even better, you know, with like Sullivan and everything. That's such a cool game. I had an amazing time too. What I just like about Dark Souls is just the way you can actually play this game, because um, in some games when you play it, you have not always, but a lot of times you just have like one way to play a game, you know. But Dark Souls does it really differently. We're actually able to play this game in so many different ways. Like for example with magic, barbarian, pyromancy, thief. It's just the battle system will just be so different what you will use, and this is something I really like actually. Also, the story can be very different because you don't only have one story, you actually have multiple ones a lot of times. But to be able to get all of those, you actually need to do a lot of side quests. You need to look around, you need to look for items, and those are very easy to miss. So if you actually really want to do all of the secrets of Dark Souls, it's actually quite useful to actually use a guide. It is something that I used a lot of times in Dark Souls because I was not really that good with like looking for everything. And I know some people are actually really good with it. And so that's what I did. I also have, like for Dark Souls 3, for example, I have a book, and that book actually helped me to get my platinum, because in that book was written everything I had to do. Which was more fun because, you know, you can look at the video and it's nice, but you just need to follow the steps. But with the book, it still gives you like, okay, I need to pay attention, and you still need to look for it, you know. And I had an amazing time by doing that. And so by that, I was actually able to get a platinum. I actually got all of the platinums of the Souls games. So this also includes Demon Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro Die Twice, and Elden Ring. And of course, yeah, Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. I've got them all. It took me a very long time to actually get all of them. It was not easy to get all of them. It took me an immense amount of time. I think the longest one that took me, that will be Dark Souls 2, if I'm correct. The reason why 2 is because, as you may know, in Dark Souls there are a lot of abilities and a lot of different weapons. And the problem is with the trophy system, you actually need to get all of the abilities, like all of magic, all of pyromancy, everything, all miracles. But they were also attached to a couple of governance, and those magic and pyromancy was also in a trophy. So you needed to get all of them. But to get them, you actually needed to give them some kind of items. They were all different. But to get all of them, you were able to actually farm them on a couple of monsters, but it was not always possible, you know, because a lot of times the drop was actually really low, and it took you an insane amount of time to actually get them. The easiest way was actually to invade people to get those, or to like help somebody to get them. Just depends on which covenant you were in. Like for example, if you were in a Solaire covenant, you will need to actually put your sign down and actually help people by killing bosses, or you had to kill like a certain enemy to get actually the solar medal. But the problem with that is Dark Souls 2, when I tried to actually go for the platinum, not a lot of people were actually playing this game anymore. And so because of that, it took me a long time to get those medals, because yeah, nobody was actually summoning me. And of course, if you get summoned, you have to make sure that you actually survive it, and that you don't die, and that you kill the boss, you know. So that was actually something that was very difficult to get. But once I got it all, I was so happy. I felt really amazing to just get the platinum trophy of it. After that, Dark Souls 3 was also kind of the same problem, but a little bit less, because a lot more people were actually playing it. And so with that, I was actually able to get the platinum trophy a little bit faster, because there were a little bit more players playing it than Dark Souls 2. After that, of course, I went for Bloodborne. Bloodborne actually went quite fast, because there were still a lot of people playing it, and I was actually able to get it quite fast. It was not actually that difficult. Sekiro Die Twice took me a very long time. It's not about the online system, because there isn't one. But the problem was actually you needed to level up a certain item, your prosthetic arm. And that cost a lot of what was it again? I think blood. I don't remember exactly. And that takes so long. That took me a very long time. I had to farm like for so damn long. I could have done it a little bit easier, but I had to complete the game again, and I was already on New Game Plus Plus. Because if you are on the New Game Plus Plus Plus, of course you will get a lot more. But I didn't want to do that, because it's not an easy game at all. It takes a long time to actually complete it, and so I actually eventually did it. About Elden Ring, to be honest, it was actually one of the easiest. Also with Demon Souls, I also found very easy. The reason why is actually in Elden Ring you needed to get a couple of items, like for example weapons, but a lot of times you needed like all of the weapons in every Dark Souls, like every boss weapon, for example. But in Elden Ring it was only like a couple of them, and it's kind of like they could have made it a little bit more difficult because I don't mind like a big challenge. But it's also a little bit the same with Demon Souls. That one was a little bit more difficult, but still it wasn't like one of the most difficult games to get platinumed. And when I actually finished all of them, wow, that was. I know for a lot of people will be like, why would you do that? It's such a waste of time. It probably is a waste of time because, of course, let's say for example, I want to go for a job and somebody's like, okay, what's like a big achievement you actually recently had? It will be a little bit difficult to say like, oh yeah, well, so I actually platinumed all the Souls games. Nobody's gonna be like, oh my God, please be my CEO. They'll all look at you like, what? Like, what did you say? Like, he will not understand. Or it needs to be like a very big gamer and knows about Souls games. Then yes, then it will be like I think a good sign because then you can actually show your determination that you're not giving up. So I could say, okay, yeah, that could be a good sign, but still, it's not really something that you can really use in your daily life. Maybe if you ever go to like a TwitchCon or whatever, then maybe you can kinda show it off. But even though, I don't mean it to be rude or anything for those that also have it, but not a lot of people actually care that you have it because, of course, people will be like, "Oh, that's impressive," and it is. It still is because it's not easy. It takes a lot of time, a lot of patience. So yeah, it's so don't take it bad, but still, it is something that you won't be really able to use it in your daily life. But am I disappointed that I did it? No, far from. I'm actually really proud of myself that I actually done it, that I actually be able to do it. Because there are not a lot of people that has done it, so I'm like, oh yeah, but I did it. So I still kind of used for myself to be like, that was actually a good run because I actually enjoyed it a lot. Even though it was not easy, even though it took me such a long time to complete it, I had a lot of hours to actually do all of that. There are not many games that I actually really put that much effort to get a trophy, because a lot of them actually can keep me on it. A lot of times, like when I play a game, I'm like, oh, okay, now I'm gonna complete the game and I'm done with it. But Dark Souls was actually really a game that I was actually really like, I want to complete it and I want to fully complete it, like get all the platinums. Then I will feel like now I finished this game properly. But a lot of other games, I'm not really that interested. I did have a couple of them, like for example, Dragon's Dogma is one of the games I also actually have platinumed. One of my first platinum is actually Far Cry 4 with Pagan Min. That was my first platinum ever. And after that, I just started to get a couple of them. But for me, it still stays like the Souls games is still actually like one of my biggest achievements in trophy hunting. Because yeah, it's such a good game. I had an amazing time by getting it. But so enough about the trophies. So my experience with Dark Souls 1 was actually really good. It has been years that I actually played it again, because last time that I played it was actually when I was actually got my trophy. After that, I didn't play it anymore. But I was like, you know what? I really want to play this game again, and then I was like, I want to share this one with everybody else, and so I did. And it's still like a very weird thing for me to actually record myself and actually talk in between my games. Um, it just feels a little bit better now. I try also to use my edits a little bit better to make it a little bit more clear and a little bit more clean. It's still not easy, but I had a good time by recording it, and also my apologies for all my cursing. I just learned that it's actually a very bad thing to do. That it's best not to curse too much, and that will be something I will actually try to pay attention to it to actually not do it as often. But if you watch everything of it, if you watch the whole series, just thank you. I really appreciate if you did because it was a very long part. It took me such a long time to make it. Um, so I really respect for anybody that actually watched everything of it. So thank you again. I remember this game like quite a lot when I started. I had still like a big idea where everything was, so not about that, not too much changed actually. The boss battles, uh, they were still like a little bit annoying at times, but sometimes I had times where the game was a little bit mm, choppy, you know. There are times like I got hit by a boss or like by just a normal enemy, and I was confused like how did that happen, you know? So a lot of times I was really confused. So that was like one issue I had at times, that the game actually resisted some attacks a little bit in a weird way. Um, but even though the combat system is just like a very simple plain combat, like you just press attack, you can do like a charge attack, you can shield yourself. Of course, there are also like the healing, the magic, but still that I didn't really use it. But something I still enjoyed like a lot was, especially with this Battle of Sif, was the way he actually acts on you. If you actually fight Sif, as you can see, you will see when he has low HP, you will see that he's kind of like starting to like walk on 3 powers because he's like hurt, and you see also he fell down. And also with a couple of bosses, I was actually able to cut their tail and actually get a weapon from it. Those are like the little things I actually really enjoy about the game. Like it's the small details that actually makes a lot for it. And that's why I also really enjoyed to play this game, but just because it was still there. Also, like a very good example is when you wear the armor of Astorias and you go fight Sif with it, it will actually be a lot easier to battle because he will be sad because he recognizes his master and he actually doesn't want to hurt his master. And you will see like his ears like going back because he's sad. Those are like small details that does so much to a game, and that's really something I really want other game companies do more often, because those little details really puts you into the game, and really makes you more part of the game because you really see what's happening if you are doing something. Um, so yeah, that's still something I really enjoy about Dark Souls, is just the little details, the little Easter eggs. And of course, yeah, it's just the battle system has gotten better and better, as you can see now with Elden Ring, for example. It got a lot better. It's a lot easier. Like especially something I really hate a lot is the Acid Flask. I got killed a lot of times because of my Acid Flask because it's so slow. It's so damn slow. It's very slow. Every time I was drinking it, like the boss was actually able to hit me like 2 or 3 times. That was something that was very difficult for me to actually manage at times. And when I compare to like Elden Ring, when you can like take a potion, it goes a lot faster, and second, you can actually roll and just quit your drinking of your Estus flask. Yeah, that made it so much easier to actually be able to take your potion. Beside that, it's still such a good game with all the elements, with all your weapons, the way of crafting. There's so much to do. It's still like a very good game, especially when that game came out in 2011. As you all may know, in that time, not many games were actually that good. But of course there were, like for example Skyrim was one of them that was actually really, really, really good. I don't know exactly when it came out, But that was such an amazing game. You know, that's and because there was a very open world, you were actually able to do so much, and that's something I really like about also Dark Souls. It's still like a very linear game. You can see you are getting pushed to a certain direction, but still there's so much more to see to the world because there are also other places you can go to and actually find some Easter eggs. Like for example, when you want to do the story of Katarina, you actually need to go to a secret level of Dark Souls, and those are little details that you actually don't always see. So that's why I always enjoyed everything. Because of course in this series I didn't do it. I did follow a little bit of the story, but I didn't do everything of it because I wasn't really planning on to do like 100% gameplay. I just really wanted just to play the game, finish the game, and share it with all of you. If you hear me breathe like very loudly or like breathe very loudly, it's because I'm not used to actually speak this much and to record myself like this. Um, so that's why it sounds like I'm panting. It's just not. It's just I'm like out of breath because I don't speak. I don't stop talking, and I'm like I can't follow myself. Whew, okay, I'm sorry about that, and especially um, this is quite a long video. I actually didn't expect for me to actually be this long. To be 27 minutes, it's still a long video, especially when I have to talk this long. It's not easy for me because I'm not really used to it, but I'm really trying to work more and more on it to actually work on my editing, on my speaking, just on everything. But as you can see, there's also something I really don't like about Dark Souls is sometimes you're like falling down and the game kind of pushes you away or like kind of bugs you. You just fall down, or like times you just don't have any chance to just do anything. Those moments made me so mad. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, how was I actually supposed to actually dodge that, you know? And so those times actually made it so difficult. But yeah, it happens. It's still Dark Souls, you know. It's still part of the game. So yeah, but I had a great time. Especially like here, the Four Kings. You actually needed to wear like a special ring to actually be able to do the boss. For here, you actually it was also like a secret level. This one I did show because this one is actually really cool. You actually need a doll for it. I actually showed it also in my gameplay. And when you get a doll, you actually are able to go to a secret level. Like for example, you can go through the painting in Anor Londo. This battle was also just really fun to do. Just I had an amazing time by doing this one too. And those are like the small details, you know. It's not a big world, but like there are not many games you are actually able to do those. And as you can see, I also played the DLC. Like here's Astorias. This battle is just so cool. I enjoyed everything of it. It was not easy. I actually did this one a lot. I think I also cursed a lot, so I'm really sorry about that. Um, so yeah, but still, it is like a good game. I had an amazing time. This is just an amazing game. Everything about it is just. I'm really passionate about Dark Souls game. That's like one of the games I actually grew up with. There are many others, but this one really did. Um, yeah, gave me. I had an amazing time with a lot of times, especially with all of them. Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Bloodborne, Sekiro, Elden Ring, Demon Souls. I played them all, and I just can't stop it. You know, like especially now they're keeping bringing out DLCs. I played them all. I played every DLC that there is available. Especially now, there's gonna be a new DLC for Elden Ring, which is really I can't wait to play it. Um, Also, for example, Dark Souls 2 had an amazing DLC because, if I'm correct, Dark Souls 2 actually had the biggest DLC ever of the Dark Souls series. I'm also hesitating to actually make a series about Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3. But the first time I actually was thinking to actually stream it, but it seems like that it's actually not really a game that a lot of people keep watching. It's not that popular anymore, which I understand because it's an old game, but I still kind of want to do it and actually have a series about it because it's still like a good game. And I think a lot more people should play this game actually because they will have an amazing time, I'm sure for it. It will curse a lot and break maybe a controller or a screen. I hope not, but it is possible because it's not an easy game either. I think Dark Souls 2 is also really difficult um, because there are so many bosses and they're not easy at all. But they're just also it's such a big game. It's a really big one. It's really a game that you can't complete in a day because there's so much, especially if you want to do everything with DLC. So that's something don't need to forget about if you want to be able to finish completely. But so this will be actually almost the end of this video. If you watch till the end, I just can't thank you enough. I just appreciate anybody that actually just watches my video that actually give me a chance to actually prove myself that I can do it. Because I actually start to enjoy more and more making these videos. It's not easy for me to making these because I'm not used to it. But I'm really open to learn and actually try my best. So just thank you again for everything, for every like, for every comment, for anything. And yeah, so this will be for today's video. I want to thank you again for watching, and if you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day. Bye bye.